Hey, what's up, y'all? So, I actually intended to make this video 2 days ago, but between work and being a mom, did not have time to. But here I am. So, your favorite senpai is coming through to talk to y'all about jealousy. Like, being the one being jealous and then being the one, like, on the receiving end. I may not touch about that. But my whole premise right now is just trying to see, does anybody else like have a similar perspective to how I kind of look at it? Personally, for me, I feel like jealousy is just a waste of time. I feel like it's a waste of time and energy, and I could probably write an entire thesis as to why it's an entire waste of time and energy. But I've always felt like that even as a young girl. So the reasons why I feel like jealousy is a waste of time and energy, because if you look at the reasons why one is actually jealous or envious or what have you, you will stop and think and be like, wait, why would you be jealous of it? Or like, if you want it so bad, like, why can't you get it? Or what can we do to help you get it? Like, what's the point in being jealous? You know, even it just depends really specifically on the scenario, and I could probably like break it down. But being jealous is really just a waste of time and energy, because let's say if it's something that somebody else has, you're like, oh, I want that. I hate that they have that. Let me go do harmful things to this person because they have something that I don't have that I wish I could have, or whatever. And it's kind of like, why would you do that? I'm like, all that energy and effort you just put into trying to tear somebody down, you really could have been putting that time and energy into building yourself up to achieve the thing that they have that you think you want so bad. Because from the outside looking in, it seems like it's great, but you actually don't know what it actually takes and what it costs to actually have that thing. So you really sitting up here being like, man, fuck it, I was trying to, be PC. You really up here trying to, put all this energy into disrupting someone else's happiness and well-being when you could really just do it yourself. Or even, let's say, if it's something you can't really like go out and achieve, or can't get the exact same thing, like looks or something like that. Like, you're upset because of somebody's phenotype, which is like their physical genetic makeup. You sitting up here pressed, but you got your own phenotype that you could literally make do with however you wanted to do. So you're like, I want to try to make them feel like the way that I feel. When actually, if you just sat back and actually really looked at yourself and realized that maybe you are actually beautiful, or stopped listening to everybody else say these things like, oh, like, you, I don't know, like, especially back when I was little. I'm not that old now, chill. but even then, I still seen it. Even when I was growing up, like, people were obsessed about people being like light skinned, or me being in the South, they call them red bone, and or don't go outside for too long, you'll get dark or something like that. And it's like, but if you actually sit back and think about it, it's like, what's wrong with having dark skin? Like, can somebody sit up here and explain to me logically what is literally wrong with having dark skin? Aside from all the other social ideations that they try to put around having dark skin, that's rooted in racism and then spawned into colorism. Like, even then, that's still a waste of time, because you're still letting people play in your face and lie in your face as though you're not beautiful when you actually are. Once again, it's a waste of time. And I'm not saying everybody has that. I do empathize with the social ideations and how we are, communicative. I don't know if that's a word, but it's about to be one today. Communicative, people. That's how we are. Like God, God, universe, however you want to put it. But that is within our nature to find our people, our group, or whatever, or the society of which we live in, which you feel like is already your group. And if they're telling you you're not beautiful because you weren't born this way or something like that, that can have impact on you. And I do understand that. I empathize with that. But also at the same time, there's moments where stubbornness comes in handy, and this is one of those moments where I felt like being stubborn is like the way to go. Because like, why should I listen to you if I cannot logically, or no one else can logically explain what is truly so wrong or horrible about this thing? I'm not about to ride on that notion. You have to make sense. Don't be a blind follower, or sheep, as they put it. Don't be a blind follower. Ask a million questions. And there are going to be some people that don't like that you ask a million questions. That means you need to ask a million more, because obviously, or apparently, I bet you that person doesn't even know the answer themselves. They just riding with it just to ride with it. Like, you spend all this time, you're pressed about it. It's affecting you mentally in a negative way. It's affecting you emotionally in a negative way. And then, and by in turn, now it's going to start affecting you spiritually in a negative way, because you're out here trying to spew negativity and harm onto someone else, especially someone else who hasn't done anything to you. And I am a full believer in karma. Like, I truly am. Maybe that could be the Libra in me. Possibly. I believe in fairness and judgment and balance. I do. Could also be that my Jupiter is also there too. Like, I really believe it as a core being. So yes, I do believe in karma. I've had my experiences with witnessing people who have to get their karma. I've seen people experience getting, their karma. I've even experienced my own karma, from doing certain things. But I've always been spiritually in tune against my will, even as a young kid. But that's another video. Anyway, case in point, you spend all this time, all this energy, and then it's making you look ugly on the outside. You think people, like, energy don't lie, and people can pick up on it. You can try to mask, you can try to put a veil over it, you can try to spray paint that little poopy attitude and stuff with gold paint. It's still gonna smell like poop at the end of the day. And when it rains, it pours, and when it pours, that paint gonna get washed away, and guess what's still gonna be there? Exactly. You going around being crappy towards other people, and guess what? And at the end of the day, you still did not achieve the real thing that you wanted in the first place. So not only have you painted yourself out to be an ugly being, once people catch wind of you, and they gonna smell it, because roses really smell like boo-boo. If they smart enough, they're probably either not gonna want to be around you, or they just gonna cut you off, like, as a whole. Like, they just don't even fool with you, period. They don't want nothing to do with you. Because now, look at how you did such and such, and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, whatever. But they don't really want to fool with you, because of the spirit that you carry. Especially once, like I said, they catch wind, that veil drop, all they get exposed. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you've done all that harm just to not even, like, and you still don't have what you wanted, because you put all your energy into trying to tear somebody down instead of putting all your energy into building yourself up. Build yourself up. You want it so bad. You wanted it bad enough to bring somebody harm. Why don't you want it bad enough to build yourself up? Personally, to me, I feel like it's ridiculous. But it's probably also because I view it as, like, just a waste of your time, energy, effort, like the space in your mind. I'm like, you're literally wasting your time doing it. You might have some immediate gratification, because now you think you've knocked them down a peg, but when in reality, that energy, especially if it was just already within them naturally, it's about to circle back and be right back at them. Like, okay, yeah, you did that. It may have hurt or whatever, depending on the relationship status between the two of you or what have you. But at the end of the day, what's meant to be for them is meant to be for them, and you cannot take away somebody's gift that has been given to them by the good Lord themselves or herself, however we want to spin it. At the end of the day, we still talking about the same being. Like, if you ever feel the need to have to try to bring someone harm or knock somebody down a peg or whatever based off of the feeling of envy or jealousy, really sit back and check yourself and stop and think. Use your big brain, not the little one, the big brain, and be like, bro, What? Okay, so I'm jealous, but why am I jealous? Like, oh, they got this, or they were able to do this, blah blah. It's like, okay. Or even if it was something that somebody achieved, you're like, dang, but they got that, man. Life must be just so easy for them. Okay, but how well do you know that person? Do you know what that person went through to get that? Do you know what it's worth to have that? What did they have to give to get that? Certain people have to make certain sacrifices to have certain things in their life. And you think it's all hunky-dory, but not realizing, like, what did it really take to get there? Did they actually have to do anything? And even then, what's the point in being jealous? If they got it, they got it. You being jealous, it ain't gonna give it to you. You probably gonna try your darndest, do some outrageous, crazy stuff, like how we see in some of these Lifetime movies. And at the end of the day, let's say you achieve it or you don't achieve it. If you achieve it the same way you got it, is the same way you're going to lose it. And I promise you, if it was meant for you, it would have been stuck with you. You wouldn't have had to do anything or too much of anything. But if it wasn't, it would not be staying with you. You might have the illusion of it being with you because it's there temporarily, but you just going to come to find out in some form or fashion, it is going to be escalated right out of your life. Whether it be somebody's partner, whether it be some funds that you acquired in a way that you probably shouldn't have acquired through depending, you know. Because some people do get their karma too for stuff they did to other people, you know. But like I said, going to different topic, deeper topic, actually. Not really all that different. But I just, you know, like, as your senpai, I just say, don't waste your time with it. Like, you want to know how your energy and time will be better spent, because although energy cannot be created and destroyed, but you can transmute it and make it something different. Time is one of those things that you can't get back. Time gonna keep ticking no matter what happens or what you do. So make sure the way you spend your time is something that's worthwhile, or when you reflect on that, try to make sure it'll be something like, hey man, I feel like when I get older, you know, this is something I won't regret, you know. Now, hey, maybe I'm over here thinking too deeply, but I'm sure y'all probably let me know in the comments, hopefully. But yeah, and I said I was thinking about, like, from the other end too. Even as the person on the receiving end, especially if they're not a person that's not really like in line or in tune with like the spirit of the energy of like envy and jealousy, they probably like, I didn't do nothing to this person. I'm just chilling, but they got a problem with me, but I didn't like do nothing. They might even ask, like, I know I'm a curious cat, so I'm gonna ask, like, what's the real deal? If nothing you say is adding up, I'm like, so, or everything you say kind of goes like, so how does this affect you, or what, depending on what it is, may have you for the appropriate question. But yeah, if it don't add up, bro, I'm probably just gonna look at you like you're crazy. No, I do. I tend to look at you like you're crazy, and I'm probably just gonna walk off, because I'm like, I don't know if it's my inner Virgo or the Virgo I was raised by. I got a Virgo Venus, so like, I don't know, or maybe it's both. Because my brother's a Virgo, and I learned a lot from him. So if people don't start making sense, bro, I start getting mad a little bit. I get my irritation, you know what, I just be like, you know what, let me remove myself from this conversation before I say something extremely mean. Because obviously you feel away for whatever reason you decided to feel away about, but the reason you feel away is not a reason to be upset at me, because if I actually didn't do anything to you, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritual, or what have you, I don't understand why this is this. But that's just me on the other side. But also, I guess on some other victim sides, you know, maybe they just kind of looking like, I don't know what's going on, they just mad at me, and if you messing with the right one, they probably gonna buck back. You know, some people might be too fawnish, you know, maybe their fight or flight is just a fawn or a run, you know, what have you, or yeah, just to let somebody like walk all over them. But I'm here to speak to the victims too, like, don't be nobody doormat. Call them out on their crap. But also at the same time, like, don't be afraid to assess the reasons why. I always ask why. That's the main thing I always encourage. Even with my little girl, I be like, ask why all the time. Don't ever take nobody word for. Just ask the 5 W's and how. And when they explain those, ask the 5 W's and how about each of those things. Because if you really want to try to get to the bottom of something, it's good to ask questions. And to see if it's actually something that's true or not. And who knows, you may even, in talking to them, they might even see within their explanation, like, okay, that sounds a little crazy. It's kind of like, yeah, it does. But that's it. Thank y'all for tuning in. For those who did tune in, I have had every intention of posting every day, but apparently there's going to be things that prevent me from doing so. But that's it. Thank you for spending time with your favorite senpai. And catch me in the next video. Hopefully in the near future. Alright, y'all.